Coach Crawford was on this show.
Really?
Coach Kit, too. Yeah. Good morning. Welcome to the United States Sports Academy and our weekly sports talk program. With me today is Dr. Brett Simmermacher, our Chair of Sports Coaching. I'm Steve Butler, your host, and today is our distinct pleasure to have with us Mr. Lance Johnson. Lance was a All-American at University of South Alabama, and actually a teammate of Brett's at University of South Alabama, then was drafted by the Cardinals, spent 14 years in the major leagues with the Cardinals, the White Sox, the Mets, the Cubs, and the Yankees. Did I get those in order?
Yeah, but you missed it. I learned everything.
and had a wonderful 14-year major league career. Got a couple of records we'll talk about a little bit later. But Lance, we really want to thank you for joining us today. And also for those of you who are watching us online right now, if you have a question for Lance, just type it in, and our producer Sarah will ask the question, and we'll go from there. Brett, since he learned everything he learned from you, I'll let you start first.
I guess my first question, Lance, is you played at Triton Junior College. Mm-hmm. What was the reasoning for coming to South Alabama? I know you probably had a lot of choices. Was it because Coach Stanky, the track record that they've had as far as their baseball program? And I'll let you go from there.
Well, it's kind of funny that you asked me that because when I left high school to go to Triton, Brian Converse, he had played with me in high school, and he went to Triton, and it was the best junior college program. So I followed him up there, and he came down here to South Alabama, and I've never heard of Mobile in my life. So he called me and told me about South Alabama was in Mobile, and I'm like, where's Mobile? So I ended up following him down here, and the rest has been history, man.
That's great.
That's awesome. When I was looking, a couple things jumped out at me when I was looking at Lance's career. One is when he was with the White Sox, he played with Bo, and in Alabama we don't have to say Jackson. Right. I'm an Auburn guy, so we just have to say Bo. But he played with Bo, and I think Bo was greatly recognized as one of the greatest athletes ever to play baseball. He was an all-pro football player, all-pro baseball player. But unfortunately, when you played with him was after his hip injury. Mm-hmm. So what was that experience like playing with Bo?
I'll tell you what, the only way I can explain it is God made us, and then he made Bo. He's some kind of specimen, awesome human being, love him to death, great guy, just totally awesome. It was funny that when he came over to the White Sox, all the GMs and stuff was calling me, say, "Hey Lance, we don't want you to worry about, Bo Jackson's coming, and you're still going to be all right in center and stuff like that." And I told him, look, if the greatest athlete ever built by God comes and takes my position, I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah, really. Yeah, I don't know if you saw the Sports Center's 30 for 30 special about Bo. But yeah, George Brett, who obviously a Hall of Famer, one of the greatest players of all time, said you never went to the clubhouse when Bo was coming up because he might do something you've never seen before.
Exactly, and then when he played his first game with us, I was hitting behind him, so I'm on deck, and I saw the most incredible thing. We all put our jerseys on and stuff like that. Well, when he stepped up to the plate, he just had his hip surgery. He goes up to the plate, and he's not using his legs. He's just using his upper body strength. But when I'm looking at his pants, you know how a bodybuilder is. You can see the veins and muscles bulging. Well, I'm looking at this guy's calves, and you can see his veins bulging out of the pants. You can see his fibers bulging. That's just incredibly ridiculous.
Yeah, that is ridiculous.
We have our clothes on right now, but can you imagine seeing his veins and stuff bulging out of his pants?
Not in his calves.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
for sure.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Wow. And then he hit the ball straight central. He hit the home run. I saw him do a whole bunch of amazing things, man. He's unbelievable.
Go ahead.
How did you get the name One Dog?
Well, the new additions for the White Sox. Every time you get a new player, uh, Tom Paciorek and Hawk Harrison, they try to create a nickname for the player. You know, it's a fun thing. So, you know, I hit a lot of triples, and I think it reminds everybody like a greyhound running around a track at the dog track. But the one thing I noticed during one of the games, they used to have these little planes flying over the stadium, and they had a Geneva dog track advertisement with the one dog flying. They had a picture of the one dog
With the red
with the red vest and everything. And I think that they saw that, and that's how I ended up getting my nickname, and it kind of stuck, and it's still with me to this day.
Yeah, it wouldn't work if they had the blue 2 up there because you were
No.
your baseball number was 1.
Exactly. So that's definitely how I think it came about.
He modestly just said he hit a lot of triples. Lance is actually the only player in the history of baseball to lead the league in triples for 4 consecutive years. And in total, he led the league in triples 5 times, and that's only been done by 3 other players: Sam Crawford, Willie Wilson, and Stan Musial. And anytime you're on a list of 4 people with Stan Musial on it, that can't be all bad.
Well, thank you. Stan was one of my heroes, and I had a chance to, when I was a rookie with St. Louis, you know, I'm sitting in the chair just like this, and Stan the Man Musial comes walking by me, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm watching a legend, you know, but he was an awesome man.
Yeah, when your nickname's the Man,
He was the man.
You're pretty good.
He was the man.
Brett?
Well, Lance and I are both from Ohio. You grew up in Cincinnati, which is a great sports city. You played at Princeton High School. I think Brian played there as well,
Yes.
Brian Converse. What are some of your memories from high school that playing, you know, we talked about it, you were a 3-sport athlete. Talk about why you made the decision to play baseball.
Well, I actually thought I was going to end up being a big man like my dad, but I ended up taking after my mother. So that kind of threw basketball out. And
I'm in that same boat though. My dad was 6'1", my mom was 4'11".
Exactly.
I'm 5'9".
So you know, I'm thinking I'm gonna be about 6'2", 6'3", 225. You know, I already had the meanness
That's
to
right.
go with all the other sports. I had everything down, but I just decided to play baseball because, you know, I wasn't big enough and heavy enough to play football. You know, I was fast enough, but, you know,
Did you play wideout?
I played a little wide receiver, but I only played like to the 10th grade.
Okay.
So it wasn't like I was in a varsity situation. And then in basketball, I had made the team as a junior, and then all my other buddies got cut.
Oh,
So I ended up leaving the team because I was better than this guard that was starting in front of me. I used to kill this guy in gym.
on the playground.
Yeah, but it was kind of like, you know, I think we might have had too many brothers out there, so they had to, you know, put the guy in there in front of me, and I was sitting on the bench, so I ended up leaving them and just playing for the neighborhood, and then I just stuck with baseball.
Awesome.
Well, that's a great decision.
Oh yeah, I think so. And then my mother wouldn't let me play football as a kid either, so
Yeah.
God rest her soul. I love you, Mom.
Yeah. Knowing what we know now, that was a really smart decision.
Yes, it
On your
was.
mom's
Yes,
part.
it
Go
was.
ahead, Sarah.
We have a couple of questions. Who were some of the best players you played against?
Okay, let's see. Well, I played with and against Ozzie Smith, without a doubt. He was one of them. I remember one time we were in spring training. I had just got traded from St. Louis to the White Sox. I hit a ball so hard to Ozzie, and I knocked him on his back. And I'm thinking, this could be a first, right? So I'm running as fast as I can the first, and right before I get ready to step on first base, the dude catches the ball. And I don't know how to this day how he threw me out. And I've never seen anybody knock him on his butt like that either. So he's one of them. You know, you got the Cal Ripken. He's always in the right place at the right time. He's probably stolen about 10 triples from me because he was 6'5", 6'6". You know, and I always hit line drives. So the line drives that I would hit that wouldn't get over him would get over the other shortstops for triples.
Sure.
He was one of them. Paul Molitor, he's another one. Dave Winfield. I mean, I could just go on and on all day about the great players that I played against.
Speaking of great players, I'll get back to that question in a second, Sarah. You were with the Cubs in 1998, and of course, baseball fans will remember that as the year that Sammy Sosa and Mike McGuire had their great home run contest, and it lasted the whole season. McGuire ended up hitting 70 to break Roger Maris's record. I had actually predicted, believe it or not, 70 on the radio in Montgomery the year before that.
Wow.
But the reason I predicted 70 because it was an expansion year.
Oh,
And
okay.
most people didn't remember that 61, when Maris hit 61, that was also an expansion year.
Okay.
So, in 1998, when they had expansion year, that means there's 24 pitchers in the major leagues that would otherwise not be major leaguers.
Yes, it would dilute.
So, I actually ended up getting right. I got a bat that says, engraved, it says Babe Ruth, 1927, 60, Roger Maris, 1961, 61, Mark McGuire, 1998, 70. But what was it like just being part of that? Because it seemed like, from watching on television, that the McGuire and Sosa just were reveling in it, were encouraging each other along the way.
Well, actually, the real special part about that, you have to remember that we had the lockouts and stuff.
Yeah.
Before that, and then you had the owners lying to the people, and the people were getting upset at the players because what the owners were saying, and they were making us look like we were greedy players, which wasn't the case. And people were starting to not go to baseball. So the beautiful part about that was them two single-handedly, and I saw it every day. They totally resurrected baseball and got people interested in it. That stuff couldn't have happened at a perfect time.
Right.
It was awesome.
I think the other big thing that helped bring baseball back after we lost the '94 World Series, I agree 100%. That was number one. But I think number two was Cal's streak.
Oh yeah, that was special too. And I'm sure we'll never see that again.
No.
Not in our lifetime.
Yeah, that's for sure. We won't see a lot of things again. I heard a guy on one of the ESPN guys. It was either Tim Kirchin or Buster Olney said that they think Tom Glavine will be the last 300-game winner. Just the way people handle their pitching staff these days.
I'm going to tell you what's amazing about him. He was smart. Tom Glavine, to me, although he's going to be a Hall of Famer, I didn't think he was that good. I mean, because he didn't throw hard or nothing like that. But what I love about him more than anything was he stuck to his plan, kind of just like I did, and he was smart because what he would do was he would stay away on everybody, okay? And actually what he did was he made you get 3 hits to score a run. And that's all he did, which was smart. Did you guys get a chance to watch the games last night?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you were really watching the games, who ended up winning? Because I turned it off.
Toronto and Encarnacion hit a 3-run homer in 11th.
But it was an inside pitch, right?
That was right down
It was
the
right down the
But
middle.
that's just like inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all the mistakes that was made last night were made inside, and they were all homers. So the team that got away from pitching away ended up losing.
Yeah, the experts last night were just trashing Buck Showalter because the best relief pitcher in all of baseball never got on the field, and they never brought him in. 47 for 47 in saves this year, just dominant. Even in the ninth, the bottom of the 11th when Encarnacion came up, it was first and third with one out,
Mm-hmm.
and this guy's a ground ball pitcher. And it's like, why didn't you bring him in then? I understand the mentality. When you're on the road, you save your closer for if you score in the top of the inning, you can bring a closer in. But I like the philosophy of you bring in your best pitcher when the game is on the line,
Right.
no matter what the inning is. There are some folks out there that think if you need to bring your closer in the seventh, you bring him in the seventh.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they never got their best pitcher on the field. He never threw a pitch. Got another question there, Sarah?
I have a lot of questions.
Okay,
All right.
good.
I guess we could stay with the topic you're talking about. Which players do you currently enjoy watching?
Right now, let's see. Oh, I like Cespedes from the Mets.
Sarah's smiling. She's a Mets fan.
Oh, yeah. Well, I can tell you, I saw him when he first came to Oakland. I hadn't, being out of ball, I don't really watch it too much anymore because I pretty much know what's going on and how things are going to work out most of the time. But when Hayward first came up, he got me watching it a little bit. And then I watched him for a couple of years. He kind of fizzled out. And then Cespedes started coming. So I like to watch him because he's a clutch player. He's exciting. He's a gamer.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other guy, he's still over in St. Louis struggling. But Cespedes, he's the one that I really like to watch right now.
I told you before, I was a season ticket holder for the Augusta Green Jackets for 5 years, and I got to watch Madison Bumgarner pitch an entire season of low A ball when he was 19 years old.
Wow.
And you've seen what he's done in the major leagues. You should have seen how he dominated 19-year-old kids for an entire season. It was pretty fun to watch.
I'm sure it was.
They had a graphic up on SportsCenter last night. His postseason ERA, he's on the top of the list, and the other 4 pitchers on the list were Mariano Rivera, Lefty Grove, Sandy Koufax, and Bob Gibson.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's good company, I'd say. Mm-hmm.
This is from before when you were talking about triples.
Mhm.
Hitting triples requires tremendous speed. What type of speed training and weight room work did you do before each season?
Okay.
What is the fastest 40-yard dash you have run?
Well, we didn't run the 40. We ran 60 yards. I ran a 6.260, which is kind of close to world class. But when I was at South Alabama, I ran a 6.5 there, and then over the years, as I was becoming a man and playing in the minor leagues and learning how to run correctly, I ended up going from a 6.5 to a 6.2. But as far as the training and stuff like that, I used to run hills. I didn't too much believe in the weightlifting with my legs because everybody that I saw lifted weights, they were pulling hamstrings. So I did a lot of body weight stuff. But what you have to remember is this. Here's what I learned. If you make your ankles stronger, okay, and that's what running up and down the hills did for me, and you kept the same weight, you can't help but to get faster because your ankles are pulling the weight. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
Okay. And then on top of that, you could be a big, strong guy, but if you have weak hands, the ball's not going to go nowhere. So you have to have strong hands too, and I had very strong hands, so that helped with the triples.
One thing, Lance is 9 years younger than me. When I was playing baseball in high school and college, baseball players didn't lift weights. Because the myth was that you'll get muscle bound and you lose your flexibility and you won't be able to swing the bat. And it kind of evolved away from that. But then it's kind of interesting how, when I was in high school, football players lifted weights. Baseball players were not allowed to lift weights.
Right, and then, I was in the generation where it went from not lifting to all of a sudden lifting. Now, I was pretty much, when me and Sammy was going to school at South, I didn't want to really lift back then.
Well,
You know
remember
what?
our off-season workouts?
Yeah.
Running in place,
Yeah.
sit-ups,
Yeah.
and push-ups.
Yeah, but then they started getting
And
us,
then we got a little bit of,
we started
Yeah.
wanted us to hit them weights. And I wasn't really crazy about it then, but as I started going through the minor leagues and trying to get to the big leagues, then I had some different decisions I had to make, like, look, these dudes are getting bigger, these dudes are getting stronger, I have to compete with these guys. Then you have the question, okay, am I gonna take some steroids or not? And, I chose, even if I didn't make it, I wasn't gonna cheat myself and hurt my body, just to play in the big leagues and make some money that I wasn't going to enjoy because I was going to end up dying early in life. That doesn't make sense.
Go ahead.
Lance, do you feel you have the numbers to support a Hall of Fame induction?
If I would have got to play maybe 4 to 5 more years, and they didn't cut me off at 37, I definitely probably would have made it. But, that's something that's really never been important to me.
Okay. Who are your picks for this year's postseason?
Well, I would have to say right now, I'm liking them Cubs right now. They're playing pretty good. They got a great manager, and I figure that it's been over 100 years since they've been anywhere. If the Cubs don't win a World Series with the coach they have, they're never going to do it.
Yeah, they've got everything. They've got power. They got speed. They announced their rotation. It's going to be Lester in Game 1, Kendrick in Game 2, Arrieta in Game 3, and Lackey in Game 4 if necessary.
Yeah, but you know what? Anything can happen.
Oh yeah.
I mean, because it's 3 out of 5 the first.
Yeah, 3 out of 5.
Yeah, see, the 7 game, anything can happen in those three out of 5 games. But it's normally the hottest team those last 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. That's why a lot in the last 15 years, a lot of wild cards have been successful because they had to play up. The Cubs haven't had to play an important game in a month.
Right,
and
right.
You lose some of that momentum.
And then if you if you win the series too quick and you're sitting for 4 or 5 days waiting on these other guys to battle out, then you start off slow because you hadn't been playing games, so it kind of hurts you sometimes and you can get upset.
Yep, definitely. And I mean, the Giants proved 2 years ago that you can win it with one great pitcher.
Yeah.
The Diamondbacks won it in the early 2000s with 2 great pitchers with Johnson and Schilling. But yeah, if a guy gets hot like Bumgarner, he can win 3 games in a 7-game series.
Yes, he can.
who you liking in the American League? The
Just
Tribe?
I just think the American League's more dominant anyway. American League.
Texas.
I played in both.
Yeah.
I think the American League's harder than the National League.
I think any of those 4 teams would not surprise me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
Texas, Toronto,
Texas,
Cleveland, and Boston. Any of those teams could win.
I just want to see Texas and Toronto play.
Yep, Friday or Thursday
Oh,
night.
that's what the big
Yeah.
fight.
Tomorrow night.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's going down. when you're there.
Is there another question?
Do you like the new wild card format?
I love it. As a matter of fact, I think I played in the first wild card playoff. I was with the Cubs, and then we were playing the Giants, and it came down to Barry Bonds' last at bat. But I knew he wasn't gonna do anything because he was off that day. Because what the pitchers used to do, I used to talk to Barry all the time, and if he said this one word when we were having a conversation, you were in trouble. And if he didn't say it, because the pitchers, they wanted to know if Barry was going to wreck them every night. So, we were safe that night, and he popped it up, and we ended up, winning and going to the playoffs.
Well, we got a couple minutes. One more question, Sarah? And I have one more question I want to ask Lance.
Having played in both leagues, are you in favor of both leagues transitioning to a DH?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think they should keep it exactly the way they have it. Yeah, because it's kind
It
of
kind of separates the two leagues.
exactly, exactly, and but it could make a National League team stronger in the
That's
playoff
true.
situation.
That's true.
You know,
There's pros and cons both ways.
exactly. They should keep it the way it is.
Um, my last question, you were too young to play against Sandy Koufax, and you're on team with Brett Semmermacher. So, besides those two, who is the toughest pitcher you ever faced?
For me, Jamie Moyer. He used. I don't think I never got a hit off him.
See, I would have guessed Randy Johnson.
No, I'd rather face Randy any day instead of Jamie Meadow.
Is that because he changed speed so much, or just couldn't
No,
hit it?
he pitched below hitting speed. That dude pitches like 82 miles an hour and 70 something miles an hour, man. And I can't figure out how a ball, how gravity doesn't take the ball down to the ground. You know, before it gets to me at the plate. But that's kind of a funny question because I remember Jamie, I think he's about 50, still pitching, but it was a playoff game, and me and my wife, we were going to have a bet. The Phillies was playing somebody, I forgot who it was, and we were going to bet like $20 or something like that. And I said, "Hold on, baby, let me see who's coming out the bullpen before I say yeah." Look, Jamie started coming out there. I said, "All bets are off. I'm not betting against this guy." And Jamie went and won that game. I lost $20.
You got anything else, Brett?
No, I appreciate you coming over, Lance.
Well,
It's always good to see you.
Yeah, Lance, I can't thank you enough for coming and gracing us with your presence today. You know, one of the things that we talk about in sports a lot is the transition of athlete to former athlete, and one of the things that anybody you talk to that knows Lance Johnson, it doesn't matter how good of a baseball player he was, he's just a great person, and in our opinion, that's a heck of a lot more important than being a great baseball player. So Lance, I want to thank you a lot for coming out, and for those of you watching us, we'll be here next week. I guess we'll get into some heavy baseball playoff talk next week, and maybe we'll even make our predictions for the end of season awards like MVP and Cy Young and those things. So we hope everybody has a great week in sports, and we'll see you next Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. Central Time from the United States Sports Academy. Have a great week, everybody.